What's up, everybody? Ben Razzie here for Stokastic to talk a little Genesis Invitational. You guys know the drill. PGA Strategy Show. We're going to dive into the salaries, the course, talk about a little waste management, get to some of the tools, and hopefully find some diamonds in the rough to craft the lineups. Welcome, everybody. If you're here for the first time, hit the like button. If you're returning for the 1,000th time, hit the like button, subscribe. We want you as part of this community. And I'm excited to bring the show back. It was on hiatus. We heard from the people. It's a little different right now. You're going to be stuck with me for the next half hour. We're going to have some fun with it. We're going to be building our golf content up. Masters is coming. It's right around the corner, but this is a big time event. It's a special field, special format, and we got Riviera. It's going to be very, very exciting. But first things first, let's talk a little waste management before we get into the tiers, before we get into the salaries. Shout out to Nick Taylor. That guy, when he gets going, is unbelievable. I'm sure a lot of you watched it while you were watching the Super Bowl. Charlie Hoffman, it's the year of the 150 to 1 shots. There's no doubt about it. Thought Scotty Scheffler was going to do it. And again, we saw kind of a back and forth, but we've seen this formula a lot right now. It's not just, of course, you need to realistically have that unless it's Nick Dunlap, that under the radar winner. But then that construction of top tier, sprinkle in that mid-range. That's what's been working. I think this week's going to be a little different. We're going to look at the salaries because this is just an absolutely loaded field. And when we talk about that, I think it's really going to change kind of the mentality of, is this a non-cut? Is this a cut? It's just such a weird dynamic to have that going on where we've got, 70 golfers, top 50 make the cut and 10 shots of the lead. So realistically, almost everyone's going to get through, and that's going to be fascinating. But before we dive into Scotty Scheffler and Rory McIlroy and all those guys, let's talk about this course. Let's talk about Riviera. We see it all the time. It's a staple with Genesis. This is the course. 3 par 5s, so you get those chances. Long, no doubt about it. 7,300 yards. It's a test at a par 71. But it's not long and crazy distance in the sense that every shot is, but your irons in particular are something that I think you need to focus on. Your par 4 distances, if you're really looking at stats, something you need to focus on. So ball striking, obviously total driving, I think is important. Long irons, 150 to 200 range, I think is important. Again, that coincides with the par 4s that we're going to see here. Now I could just keep rattling off stats because it's a roundabout way of saying you need to do everything because around the green is very important here. You're going to have some weird lies. You're going to have to get up and down from out of some hazards and whatnot. That is important. And then if you can roll it on POA greens, I think we found ourselves an all-around player. If you can find that guy, just play them. No doubt about it. But it's not that simple for obvious reasons. But for me, when I'm thinking about it, kind of taking the same as waste management at TPC Scottsdale. Give me a ball striker that could flip a putter more than someone that I think has elite short game and can work in and out of trouble, who doesn't hit it too far off the tee. I think that's just a really tough recipe at a course like Riviera. I don't see that succeeding for the most part. I'd rather have that. There are comps to Augusta. I've seen that thrown around. I do see it. I think that's where if you really want to boost around the green, that's part of it. You get some funky lies, things like that. You can be creative and you can score. That's the other thing. This is not easy by any stretch, but you can score at this course. We've seen Genesis on the schedule forever. There's no doubt about it that if you put together and you stay out of the thick stuff, you can hit these big greens and you can roll them in. And that's what we're going to have to figure out because it's not just about the course, it's about the field. So I already said this, but let's go through it real quick and then we'll dive in to the top tier. You've got 70 players. It's an invitational. Top 50 and ties and anyone within 10 shots of the lead. So realistically, you're almost talking about a non-cut. You're going to have a couple guys kind of like the Masters who get thrown out and the rest are going to be in. All the big names should make it through. You need to score. You need to outscore your placement points, all that type of stuff. We've got Tiger Woods in the field. I'm not sure that's going to be the move this week, but it is very cool. That's a good thing for golf. No matter how he's playing, it's a good thing for golf to have him in the field. So that is where we're at with the field. It's an elevated event, and every name, it's a Masters quality field, minus the live guys that we've got. What do you say we get into it? Here we go. I brought it up on the screen. This is part of our, revamped data hub, which I'll be talking about. Again, we've got some really sick tools. It's not just the sims and lineup generator and all that, which I will get to, but this data hub is fantastic. It makes my life a lot easier. Scotty Scheffler, Rory McIlroy, Xander, and Hovland are the 10K plus options. You've got 2 in the 11s. You've got 2 in the 10s. $1,000 difference between Rory and Xander. Where do we go? Well, the easy answer is you can go anywhere here. I mean, they're the best players in the world. You can start with any of them, and it doesn't really make a difference in my mind, but you can't play everyone. So who's getting squeezed? Well, according to the leverage here, and again, this will update as we get closer to lock, Xander would be the guy outside looking in. And I love to see that because for me, he's the guy that's outside looking in. It's not to say he's not a good player. It's not to say that his driving can't really translate to what we're doing here, but we haven't seen a ton of him in 2024. He's been pretty solid. He was 3rd at Amex, 9th at Farmers, 54 at Pebble Beach. And when you look at him, he's played Genesis a bunch. Pretty solid. He's making the cut every time. Handful of top 15s, a 9th way back in 2018. It's nothing that Xander's doing wrong per se. And the irons are crisp. The all-around gain is there, but you're just weighing the opportunity cost. Around him, you've got 3 of the best naturally. You've got Scheffler and Rory. Then you've got Victor Hovland, who, for quite a while now, the short game around the green. Can he survive with that? It's still an issue, but it's not nearly as big of an issue as it was. Now, the question with Hovland, a little more than these guys, is we haven't seen as much of him stateside. We saw him at Pebble Beach, and he was not good. His irons were off. I think I'd have him 3rd. But you've got Rory and you've got Scheffler. If I can get the money to go get one of them, that's where I want to be. Rory was doing some things in the Mideast. Then he played at Pebble. I'm not going to overrate what's going on with a couple rounds of golf, but he was another one that it wasn't good, to say the least. His irons were really not there. Sure, he can turn that around. He didn't even putt well either. And this is just a guy that translates to every single course. He's got plenty of success at Genesis, 5th, the 4th. It's Rory. And then let's work backwards to Scheffler, who, he could have won last week. Just another 12.5 strokes gained tee to green. He was flat with the putter, which when Scotty Scheffler he's so good when he's flat with the putter, he basically is on the short list to win, which is just insane. And when you see that, you kind of wonder, okay, well, what happens if he gains 3 strokes putting, 5 strokes putting? I mean, he's just going to win. He grades out pretty nice, positive leverage on 3 of 4 here. So for me, I'm going to have exposure to all of them because, again, I think you can make enough teams and get over. But I'll go Rory 1, Scheffler 2, Hovland 3, and Xander 4. But mixing and matching, do you think you can pair Xander with one of the 3? That's an interesting build. You're going to have to omit the 9K range, which is the second part of the top tier. Let's get to that a little bit. Because when you go down, you obviously can't play all of these guys if you've doubled up north of 10. Holma, Morikawa, Cantley, Aberg, JT, and Spieth. You don't have a ton of guys that jump off the page here. I think that Aberg is the trickiest of the bunch. He grades out pretty well, no doubt about that. It's this age-old question of how good is he? Because he looks fantastic. He was 9th at Farmers, 2nd at Pebble. But now he's priced like he's fantastic. He's priced like he's one of the world's best players in a field against the world's best players. It's going to be tough for me. We're going to see where ownership comes in. We're going to see how these updates. I like JT more. JT gained again across the board. Waste management, I bet. This is now the 3rd week I bet JT. If you want stuff on the betting side, go over to Odd Chopper Golf. We got you covered right there. No doubt about it. But JT is just firing on all cylinders. And then you've got above them, I think, is a fascinating range. Max Homa is not playing well. There's no doubt about it. There's really no way to spin it. This is a guy that certainly has the talent, but he missed the cut at the waste management. He loves this tournament. Genesis is his just playground. He's been unbelievable here. He won in 2021, 2nd in 2023. Obviously, he's a California guy. Definitely, it's something that translates, and you can see why with his game. I'm just not sure the game is really there right now. Morikawa, long irons, ball striking. Will he bring the putter? it's very hard to know with him. Uh, I like what he's been doing. He was 14th at Pebble Beach, missed the cut at Farmers, which is a little disappointing, but he really melted. I watched that because I needed him badly there. I am very comfortable with Morikawa in this spot. I think that he makes a lot of sense. Same with Cantlay. It's just a range that you can definitely pepper. No doubt about it. When I look at the 9K range priorities, JT, Morikawa, and Cantlay. Spieth is Spieth. I think that he's almost the exception to every rule because when I think of him, I think of a short game specialist, a wizard. But at times he ball strikes like you wouldn't believe. Then he loses it completely and he's hitting the ball into the ocean. It's very, very difficult to know what we're going to get with Jordan Spieth. I think he's always in play for tournaments. Again, I'll let the tools, the sims, lineup generator do the work for me with a guy like that. I don't have a strong take. I'm not going to manually boost him most likely. And that's something I'll talk about in a little bit about what you can do with this data. But for me, Spieth is just indifferent. I prefer JT strongly. So top tier, we know what we got. We got the best players in the world on this first page, 10 of them, and you're going to be able to mix and match. How low would I start? I think Morikawa is probably around that range. Morikawa Cantlay. You can double up. You can take 3 of them. Not starting in the 8s or anything like that. I think there's just too much win equity at the top, particularly in a tournament that's basically a non-cut. That's a little aggressive. Let's get to the mid-range. Before I do, though, right off the bat, I just want to mention, if you are watching this, which if you're hearing me, you are, this data, it's all part of all these packages, from lineup generator to the sims. Get involved. Discord is in there too. If you are looking to be better with golf, to refine your process, if you say, hey, I've been watching these shows and you guys have changed it up, I love the live chat, Discord's where you want to be. That's 24/7. You hop in there, you talk about this. We've got a great community that is using this very same data to formulate stuff. Again, this is all part of the sims. You see the contest generator. You've got post-contest lock. You can do all these things. You can examine your lineups. If you haven't thought about this stuff, I know for the Masters and these big tournaments, obviously there's going to be a ton of people using this. I really believe test it out now. Get familiar with the process. So when the majors come, it's not the first time that you've seen these type of tools. It's not the first time you're using the Sims or lineup generator or even being in Discord. So if you want to take a chance and test this out for the week, the link is below. Read about it. Come on in. When you get in there, make sure you tag me. Say what's up. Love seeing new faces in there. But let's move to the mid-range. Let's talk about this because when we go here, we've got Tony Finau, who another guy bet, and Tommy Fleetwood, another guy can't quit. So you've got 2 options right at the top of the 8s that I really do like. I think they're the easy pairing with one of the 10K options. Start with Fleetwood. He's not really doing anything. 31st at Pebble Beach. Irons weren't there. Puttering wasn't there. I like this course for him, though, quite a bit. I think that Genesis fits. He's played it a handful of times. He's made the cut. Uneventful. I think he'll have his best finish. POA splits are fine. Doesn't mind a difficult track. And then Tony Finau, he loves Genesis, loves Riviera. 47th at Pebble. I don't really care about that. 6th at Farmers. I do care about that. He gained 7 strokes with the irons. That's a good course when you talk about Torrey. And there's no coincidence that he's had a lot of success at Farmers and he's had a lot of success at Genesis, a pair of runner-up finishes over the last 6 years. Tony Finau can win this tournament. There's no doubt about it. He's in the mid-30s in the betting market. I like Tony Finau quite a bit this week. He's an easy play for me. I think he fits a lot of builds. Not starting with him, but easy second man in for what we got going on here. So looking at the 8K range, once again, when we get below a guy like Fleetwood, you've got Sam Burns, you've got Thigala, Cam Young, Fitzy, Wyndham Clark, Adam Scott, Tom Kim. There's a lot of names here. A lot of names. I'm not going to say potential value because, again, that's not something that I think is how I'd classify it. But there's just a lot of opportunity here. I'm going to bring the leverage column over again. I love that you can just customize this very easily. And I'm actually going to put it next to projection so we can see. And then I'll scroll down once again. Again, Burns, Thigala, these type of guys, no one really jumps out. Cam Young, this is a name that I do like. Positive leverage here. Really good off the tee. Thought that he was very dangerous last week at Waste Management. And he did flash some signs of that. I still have questions about how good is Cam Young. I think that's a question that will be determined at a later date. But I'll tell you this much: if he gains strokes putting like he did in Phoenix, he's going to be very dangerous. He gained 4 strokes off the tee and 5 strokes putting. That's a deadly combination. I call that the Cam champ. If you continue to do that, watch out. This guy's going to be no joke with that. Going down, I think Fitzy, his long irons ability. Wyndham Clark is always boom bust. We just saw him win. I still think that, I guess it's a hot take. If you're going to tell me one random guy misses the cut at an event like this, I feel like Wyndham Clark is that type of player. A little erratic at times, but there's no doubt he's a world-class player. The guy's done it at the highest level. He's taken down a major, Wells Fargo type. The guy knows what he's doing. I have no issues with him. Toughest play for me is going to be Tom Kim here. I'm not exactly sure what to do with him. He's great with the irons at Phoenix. He came in 17th. I don't love this course for him. I think that it will test him, particularly off the tee, and his around the green game. If I had to say what's the weakest part of Tom Kim's game, I would say it's around the green. But for me, he's a pretty reasonable play at 8,100. Again, I'm going to put him in the Spieth bucket. And that bucket is not just kind of atypical skill sets. It's I'm not going to mess around with their boost. I'm not going to do anything manually. If I get them, I get them. If I don't, I don't. I'll let the tools do the work. Last couple guys here, Jason Day, Sungjae. What is going on with Sungjae? If anybody knows what's going on at Sungjae, please tweet me at JazzRazDFS. Guy's grinding as he always does, but he's been killing me. I had him last week. 66th at Waste Management, lost nearly 5 strokes with the approach and 3 strokes putting. I still firmly believe that Sungjae Im's going to turn it around. Not sure I'm going to keep paying to find out, though. When he does, I'll reevaluate. If he burns me, he burns me. Rather play Will Z. I'd rather play Tom Kim. I'd rather play Fitzy and Cam Young, and certainly the guys in the upper eights. When you look at Jason Day, third guy that I have no feel for. I know we're going through all the players, but it's 70-man field. We can kind of do that. Keegan, Will Z, those types, not a lot to say there. Russell Henley, Eric Cole, Si Woo, Benny On, McPutts, Chris Kirk, Decky, Ricky, Corey Connors. Whew, a lot of names here. I'm not going to say, again, a lot of value, but some names that jump off the page. Eric Cole grades out really well. Corey Connors grades out really well. Corey Connors was my favorite play last week. He did not kill me. He did not do anything that made me any money either. He was just kind of indifferent. He soared through the cut. He came in 28th. He has gained off the tee in every event, dating way back into 2023. The guy's automatic. He's also lost around the green in 6 of 7. So that's what you're giving up. Ball striking good, around the green bad. Can you get away with that here? That's going to be the question. It depends how many greens he hits in regulation. Can he mask it? Eric Cole, guy's almost automatic at finding the weekend, which isn't a huge deal here because almost everyone's going to do it. His approach numbers are outstanding. He's also lost around the green in 5 straight. That's the type of stuff that I think we're balancing. Eric Cole's a lot weaker off the tee than some of the guys around him, but I do think he fits some of the skill sets here. A lot of pure iron players. Decky, long iron specialist. He's got a green jacket. I like him. 7,400 was a price that I was a little shocked at. I have a video out on this very channel, my top value plays, and Decky's on it because I'm treating values as like 7,500 and below. Couldn't believe it. That was something that was really, really surprising. And of course, I'm on DraftKings here. Before I bounce out of this video, I will get you. We'll flip it to FanDuel and we'll see what's going on there as well. But to me, Decky really grades out well. Connors, Harmon, even Ricky. I think you could build some really fascinating lineups where you take Scotty or Rory, one of your favorite 9s, and then pepper the low 7s. Take 4 of the guys on the screen right now. Really, really attack the lower mid-range and see what we can get. Because to me, this is one of the best opportunities for that. So we've got that. Don't really have anything else here. Again, all these guys are going to be very close in projection. You see it on the screen. Ricky's kind of towards the bottom, but he's got a lot of boom bust in him. There's no doubt about that. And we'll see. These numbers will update. It's one of the many reasons you want this data. And as we get information, if anyone, of course, withdraws or anything, that will change what we got going on. What else do we've got? We've got Cam Davis, Nick Taylor, who again, when he gets going, watch out. Adam Hadwin, not playing good golf. Sep Straka, Bo Hostler, Harris English. Then we'll get to the cheapies. Cam Davis is an attachment to if you think it's going to play easy and you want off the tee maniacs who can really score. He's got that. His ceiling is very good. His floor is he's missing the cut. Hadwin, really tough. Seth Straka grades out well. Again, that leverage score is something that I noticed. Definitely want to keep that in mind when I'm building. I might add a little more to the pool. Bo Hostler, he's a name that's bounced around. In some of the weaker field events, he's obviously not 7K. In a field like this, he's going to be. He's making a lot of cuts. His last miss was at Wyndham back in August of 2023. 41st at Phoenix. He gained in everywhere except the putter. That's very atypical. He's a great putter notoriously. Now, Poa is not his preferred surface. Bent grass is, and that's something to keep in mind. But if you think that Bo Hostler can really roll it in, I could see that. I could see him as a dart throw, kind of like Harris English in some ways. But to sum up the sevens, I really like that mid 7K range, the Connors, Harmon, up to when you get a little higher, Eric Cole, Henley types. Down here, Sep Straka, again, that's about it. Maybe Cam Davis as a splash, but I don't really love this range. I'd rather dip to the cheapies, to the salary savers. Let's get to them. These are the guys that, 100 to 1 in the markets, looking for a first PGA Tour win, not as consistent, not playing as well, overmatched, all that type of stuff. Now, I will say, if you get one of them right, you're going to be in business, whether that's DFS or betting it. And allow me to just take a second and mention this. I talk about it all the time on Odd Chopper Golf. If you are in any of these following states, Indiana, Arizona, Kentucky, Ohio, New Jersey, Virginia, Iowa, Colorado, and Louisiana, Bet365 is in your state. And that means very, very good things. How about $150 in bonus bets? Bet 5, get 150. It's that simple. Look at it. It's on the screen, and it's available if you're in one of those states. All you have to do is sign up. The link is below. Bet 5, win or lose, you get $150. You can use it for golf, college basketball, the NBA, NASCAR. I don't care what you use it for. It's there for you. It's an opportunity for you, and it's one not to miss out on. You got to be 20 plus. 18 in Kentucky. If you have a gambling problem, go 1-800-GAMBLER. Now, I mentioned the salary savers. I mentioned those type of builds. Can we find guys in the upper sixes, the Griots of the world? Well, that's a guy, of course, that I'm going to talk about. I love Griot. I'm not going to say I love him for this tournament. I do think he fits. He hasn't had a ton of success at Genesis, but, he's a more well-rounded player now. The putter is not a liability anymore. Around the green is crushed with the irons. That's what Griot does. He's sub 7K. I think he's going to be fine. I think Patrick Rogers, another guy that we've seen his ability. He's a California guy. He can get it going, gain off the tee, see what we can do there. And again, some of these numbers are going to bounce around, but those two names right at the top stuck out to me kind of when I was looking there. Now we get to the real dumpster dive. And it's Luke List at the top, 6,600. I can make a case, though. Luke List knows what he's doing. He's off the tee, very strong. A guy who's won an event on the PGA Tour. Luke List is a winner. I know it seemed like it would never happen, but it did happen. And when I saw it at Farmers, that's the kind of course that I don't mind comping. Then he wins at Sanderson Farms. That's totally different. But to me, Luke List has what it takes to attack Genesis. He's played it, mixed bag, a lot of middling, 25th, 29th, 20th, 30th. Ball strikes the hell out of the ball. Poa is not a good surface. He doesn't have a surface, though. Putting is just not his thing. If he survives around the green, we're going to be in business. Now, he's lost 6 straight times around the green. That's the big issue, but he's gained 5 out of 6 with the approach and 5 out of 6 off the tee. That's very powerful. Very powerful. That is what we really want from a guy in this range. And I think we get it. We've got Svensson right there, I think is fine. Tiger does show positive leverage. I don't know what to do with him. Probably not for me. I'd rather play Lucas Glover, who, as long as he sets an alarm, he should be okay. He's got horrible course history, but he's another guy. If you're grouping irons, I'm okay with that. I actually think in a field like this, an elevated event, they have to fill out the 6K range. These are not nobodies. These are guys who can play, especially in the mid to upper sixes. These are players that I feel okay with. Taylor Moore is another one, making cuts, consistent, last man in. You could do a whole lot worse. Then it gets pretty bad. I'm not gonna lie. The very bottom, I'm not sure I'm looking to go to. These type of players, Nick Dunlap, Charlie Hoffman, JJ Spawn, Woodland, Hardy, I guess. But even so, I don't love the course for him. Grayson's lost it. I don't Chase Johnson, please don't play him. Seamus, Sam Ryder. If you're in a pinch and you're saying, I love this lineup. I love this lineup. And I don't care. I just need a guy who's going to get through. Give me 72 holes. Outscore their placement points and give me a 33rd or something. And the rest is everything I want it to be. Nick Taylor. Nick Hardy would be my choice. The guy makes cuts. Now, he doesn't do anything with them. He's got a lot of 47ths out there. He came in 66 at Phoenix, 47th at Pebble, 37th at Farmers, 42nd at Sony, 47th at Century. I mean, none of those are grabbing a lot of placement points, but he is making the weekends. He does have some skills that I think can translate around here, particularly off the tee. Now, his irons are hit and miss. The field is much stronger, and I think Riviera is a much different test than some of the birdie fests. But when I look at this, that's a guy that I really can get on board with if you are in a jam. I want to stress that the most, if you are in a jam. So we've gotten to the bottom of the range. I'm going to do a couple of things before we get out of here, including giving you a hot take in just a second. But I did promise go to FanDuel very quickly. And again, this is all sort and customizable, all this stuff. Again, and it can be words. I'll go to the leverage. These are the top leverage guys currently on FanDuel. You've got Day, Putnam, Scheffler, Connors, Cam Young, these type of players. These are guys to consider if you are playing over there. And again, this is just the data. If you want to run the Sims lineup generator, it's all here for you. All different types of tools that fit your process. It really is just a one-stop shop for what you need. But I'm just highlighting the day-to-day in terms of the strategy show. And again, if you have any questions about any of this, hit me up on Twitter at JazzRazDFS. We appreciate it. Be on the lookout for Greg's content as well. Eric, the whole team, we're getting involved here. We couldn't be more excited. I love this tournament. This is one of my favorite tournaments to be honest. So make sure you're checking out the links in the description to take advantage of not just the deals, but really see if this type of data and these type of tools can help make your golf process fantastic and better before we get to the biggest tournaments of the year. Hot take time. You guys know the drill. I'm going to say something potentially egregious, and we're going to roll with it. I don't even think this is this crazy. Tony Finau. He's going to do it. I think Tony Finau is going to win. You're talking about mid-30s, 33-1, I believe is what I have on my ticket. He loves this course. I think the game is actually pretty close. Tee to green, he was fantastic at Farmers. He was good at Pebble, just really couldn't putt. I'm asking Tony to find a way to flip that putter and get us over the finish line. If he does that, if Tony Finau can do that with the putter, he will have a chance on Sunday. Good play in DFS. Good bet as well. I'm going to call for Tony Finau to give it a run for us and hopefully make us a lot of money in all forms of golf this week. There we have it. Appreciate everyone for tuning in. It's been fun. It's been real. You're going to be seeing me do this every week. We'll get it sorted out. We'll get it rocking. We'll add some things. Maybe I'll do some lineup generator segments as well, even run the Sims at times. We want to show you guys all the tools and what we're using to build our own lineups and bring it to you. That's what we're about here at Stokastic, and we couldn't appreciate the support anymore. It really is appreciated. It makes doing this stuff fun. I'm going to bounce the net here. Normally I say for me and Jordan Klein behind the glass, this is all me. All me. Solo show. But for all of us here at Stokastic, have a great day ahead. Enjoy. See you next week. Same time, same place.